First day, the first day for me, well, all first days are terrifying because you have to show yourself, you're in front of people.
He captivated the world as James Bond in GoldenEye, brought unforgettable charm to Tomorrow Never Dies, and became one of the most loved 007 actors of all time. From the outside, the world saw fame, success, and the perfect smile. But behind every achievement was a heartbroken man who lost his beloved wife, Cassandra, and years later, his daughter, Charlotte, to the same disease, cancer. Now, at 73, Pierce Brosnan's life tells a story far more powerful than any movie he ever made. So how did he find the strength to keep going after losing the two people he loved most? Let's find out. The Broken Childhood. Born on May 16, 1953, in Drogheda, County Louth, Ireland, Pierce Brosnan entered a world that never gave him the comfort of a stable home. His father, Thomas, left while Pierce was still a baby, and things didn't get easier. When he was 4, his mother left for London in search of a better future. From that moment on, Pierce spent his childhood waiting for the day he would reunite with his family. Because she could only return once or twice a year, Pierce grew up moving from one home to another. First, he lived with his maternal grandparents. After they passed away, he stayed with an aunt and uncle. Later, he moved into the lodging house of Eileen Riley. Pierce attended a local school in Navan, County Meath. But even in the classroom, he carried a quiet loneliness that never seemed to leave him. Every now and then, his mother sent him small gifts from London. It was a reminder that his mother had never stopped thinking about him. Then, after years of waiting, life finally gave Pierce a second chance. In August 1964, at the age of 11, he reunited with his mother and her new husband, William Carmichael, in London. For the first time in years, they were finally living under the same roof. Pierce enrolled at Elliott School in Putney, trying to find his place in a world that still felt unfamiliar. Then one afternoon, something unexpected happened. He went to see Goldfinger. Watching Sean Connery walk onto the screen as James Bond sparked something inside him. And for the first time, Pierce wasn't thinking about the life he had lost. He was thinking about the life he wanted to build. Pierce left school and enrolled at St. Martin's School of Art in London to study commercial illustration. But before long, he fell in love with acting. It was the first thing that truly felt like it belonged to him. Determined to make it, he trained for 3 years at the Drama Centre London, graduating in 1975. Afterward, he joined the York Theatre Royal, spending years working on stage, sharpening his craft one performance at a time. And after years of hard work, he finally landed an opportunity in Murphy's Stroke. It was only a small television appearance, but it marked the beginning of his career. Then, just as everything seemed to be falling into place, Pierce met the woman who would become the love of his life. Bronson's first love. In the mid-1970s, while Pierce Brosnan was still trying to build his acting career, he met Cassandra Harris through a mutual friend in London. By then, Cassandra had already lived through heartbreak. Her first marriage, to William Firth, ended in divorce in 1970. Later that same year, she married film producer Dermot Harris, the brother of actor Richard Harris. Together they had 2 children, Christopher and Charlotte. But that marriage also came to an end in 1978. Like Pierce, Cassandra knew what it felt like to start over. At first, they were simply 2 actors enjoying long conversations, but before long, they fell in love. And on December 27, 1980, they married. But Pierce didn't just become Cassandra's husband, he became a father. He welcomed Christopher and Charlotte with an open heart. Then, in September 1983, their son Sean was born. For the little boy who had once moved from one home to another, life had finally given him a home of his own. Those years became some of the happiest of his life. As Pierce's career continued to rise, Cassandra remained beside him through every audition, every disappointment, and every success. She believed in him long before the rest of the world did. Together, they built the loving family Pierce had dreamed of since he was a child. Then, without warning, everything changed. In 1987, while the family was in India during the filming of The Deceivers, Cassandra began feeling unusually tired. Soon, her stomach started to swell. At first, it didn't seem serious, but after returning to London, doctors delivered devastating news. Cassandra had ovarian cancer. What followed were 4 years of hospitals, 8 operations, 18 months of chemotherapy, and a battle the entire family fought together. Then came December 28, 1991. Just one day after celebrating their 11th wedding anniversary, Cassandra Harris passed away at the age of 43. In a single moment, the family Pierce had spent years building was torn apart, and now he had to piece it all back together. Learning to live again. After losing Cassandra, Pierce Brosnan did the only thing he knew how to do. He kept working. In Hollywood, he looked like a man whose life was finally coming together. Behind the cameras, he was still carrying a loss that never truly left him. His first major breakthrough had come years earlier with Remington Steele. The NBC series premiered on October 1, 1982, and quickly turned him into one of television's biggest stars. Audiences loved his charm, confidence, and effortless style. Before long, people began saying the same thing. He was born to play James Bond. Then, in 1986, the dream was finally within reach. Roger Moore had retired. Pierce received the offer to become the next 007. Everything seemed settled. Until one unexpected phone call changed everything. NBC decided to renew Remington Steele. That single decision changed Pierce's future overnight. Bond producer Albert "Cubby" Broccoli didn't want a television actor playing James Bond, so the offer disappeared. And the role went to Timothy Dalton instead. For many actors, that kind of disappointment could have ended the dream. For Pierce, it became another setback to survive. He kept moving forward. In 1987, he appeared in The Fourth Protocol. In 1993, he starred alongside Robin Williams and Sally Field in Mrs. Doubtfire. Each new role proved that he was more than a television star. He belonged in Hollywood. Then, after years of waiting, the call finally came. On June 8, 1994, Pierce Brosnan was officially announced as the 5th James Bond. A role he had waited years to play had finally become reality. When GoldenEye arrived in 1995, it became a worldwide success, earning more than $350 million at the box office. Then came Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. Pierce Brosnan had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. On screen, he looked fearless, confident, untouchable. But behind it all was a father doing everything he could to keep his family together. And just when it seemed life had finally begun to heal, another heartbreaking loss was waiting around the corner. Another tragedy. In 1994, while visiting Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, Pierce met journalist Keely Shea Smith. She had traveled there to interview another celebrity. Instead, she met Pierce. What began as a simple conversation soon became something much deeper. They laughed, they talked for hours, and before long, they realized they had found something neither of them had expected. For Pierce, Keely wasn't there to erase the past. She never tried to replace Cassandra. Instead, she accepted every part of his life, including the memories he would always carry. For the first time in years, Pierce allowed himself to believe in happiness again. In 2001, they were married. Together, they welcomed 2 sons, Dylan and Paris. Once again, Pierce found himself surrounded by the thing he had spent his childhood searching for: a loving family. Then came 2013. The phone call no parent ever wants to receive. Charlotte had ovarian cancer. It was the very same disease that had taken Cassandra more than 20 years earlier. In an instant, every painful memory came rushing back. Pierce knew exactly what lay ahead. He had already lived through this nightmare once. Now, he had to face it all over again. Charlotte passed away that year at the age of 41. For the second time, ovarian cancer had taken someone he loved beyond words. Yet somehow Pierce kept going. Today, he still acts, he still paints, he still smiles beside the family he loves, but the grief never truly disappeared. Instead of trying to move on, Pierce has learned to carry the people he lost with him, because some loves are simply too deep to leave behind. Pierce Brosnan's story reminds us that real strength is not about living without loss. It is about finding the courage to keep loving, keep caring, and keep moving forward, even when life changes forever. So which part of Pierce Brosnan's journey touched your heart the most, and what lesson will you take from his story? Share your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you found this video fascinating, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories like this. We'll see you in the next one.